What up, YouTube? It's Big Lou tapping back in with What It Do with Big Lou. I know it's dark, but you know what? I like it better in the dark sometimes. You know it's me. You can see me. Anyhow, I'm gonna uh, I'm gonna give you guys the pros and the cons when it comes to San Quentin Reception Center and DVI, which stands for Dual Vocational Institution Reception Center. The pros and cons. Okay, so let's start with DVI. Um, because it's in the valley, if you're there in the summer, it's in the valley. The cells are actually, the back windows is the wall. So when your windows open, you're right, that's the wall right there. San Quentin, the wall, the cells, you're not on the wall. It sits back. So basically, when you're looking out your door, the cat walks across from you. The windows are there. Okay, so it's Tracy's 3 tiers high. So that's 3 floors on both sides. So you got cells facing cells. San Quentin, you don't. You have 5 tiers high, so 5 floors high, only on one side of the building. So it pretty much breaks down to the same amount of cells. Excuse me. So in Tracy or DVI, excuse me, it'll be 101 first tier all the way down to 124. Second tier, 201 down to 224. Third tier, third floor, 301 to 324. Other side. So it'll be 125 all the way down to, let me see if I remember right. I think it's 143. Yeah, I believe it's 143. Second tier, second floor, it'll be 225 down to I think that one goes a little higher. 248, I believe it is. And there's showers on that side. First tier, the showers on the bottom side next to 201. Okay? The second tier showers are on the opposite side next to like two cells, 248. Okay? Third tier, third floor would be 325 down to 346, I think, on that one. And then they'll also have a set of showers there too. Second and third tier, there is, I believe, I remember correctly, 4 shower heads. Maybe 5. And then on the first tier, you have 3 or 4 shower heads on one side, and then 3 or 4 shower heads on the other side. And then you have a handicap shower too. And then those will be the wings. So all the wings are the same: E wing, H wing, G wing, L wing, G wing. K wing is ad seg, so it's built differently. And then you have East Hall and West Hall. There's only showers on the bottom tier, and there's about 10 shower heads across. There's no shower heads on the second and third tier, and those cells are a lot smaller. And okay, let me tell you how the East Hall, or excuse me, okay, we'll start there since we're already there. East Hall, West Hall cells. So when you walk, if you're at the door looking into the cell, the beds will be on the wall. Boom. And then you'll have a window that comes down. And then depending what cell it is, on your right or left, you'll have a shelf. And then you have the second shelf for the top bunk is right above the bunk. Okay? Then you have a toilet, and the sink is all one unit, where when the water goes out of the drain, the sink goes into the toilet. And that's right next to the door, which is about about 2.5 feet from the bunk, the bottom bunk. And that's in East and West Hall. And then you also have halls in, well, we're not going to go there since there's only about 2 places. Okay, so then the cells in E wing, all the wings, when you walk, if you're standing at the door and you're looking in, the bunks are against either the right side or the left side, running parallel, not sideways. And then straight ahead, there's a window that comes down. Boom. And there's no, in the reception center, there's no shelves for your stuff. Now that's in the main line, which would have been at that time J wing, C wing, D wing, and J wing, C wing, D wing, L wing, L3, so the third floor. And that's Tracy. Okay. Now San Quentin, you have sections: Badger section, Alpine section, Carson section, Donner section. Then you have West Block and you have North Block. Or excuse me, you have East Block, West Block. and you have North Block. And then what those sections I just named, Alpine, Badger, Carson, Donner, that's considered South Block. But people will call that, they'll call that, like I said, Alpine and all that. And that's reception. You have Carson section, Alpine section was mixed. It was part PC and then part GP on like the upper tiers. Alpine. And then Badger section I believe was the whole AdSeg. Carson section where they had most of the Northerners at, and then Donner section was where the Southsiders, Sureños were at, and some Death Row. And then West Hall and West Hall was also reception when I was there. And then actually, you know what? No, it was no longer reception. It was mainline, West Block. And then you got You got East Block, which was mostly used for the hole and condemned inmates. And then North Block was mainline. So a lot of things have changed. That's why you see me thinking about it, because at one point it was reception, then it was this, then it was that, and they changed stuff a lot. Okay, when it comes to the laundry, Tracy will have laundry once, put it this way, not much selection of laundry unless you have somebody that works there in the laundry. Now, the way they do it is, this is all reception center. So what they'll do is they'll bring in, it depends too sometimes, because if it's the main lines, you might bring people from the main line in there to work in laundry. And what they do, they set the tables up, they start putting out the clothes by sizes, this and that, and then they'll bring some inmates that live in that wing out of their cells to work for that day for laundry, right? And so if you got to hook up with one of them, you can tell them, hey, I need this, I need that, I need this. They can put it away for you. It doesn't always happen. And a lot of times, depending who the free staff is and depending what cops there, they could be assholes and not allow it. It's just depends. You know, it's all weird. It's never, usually a lot of times it's never the same program. You know, one day a correctional officer will act this way. The next time you see him, he's a different way. Same thing with the free staff. Sometimes they walk like they have something up their ass. Okay. And then if you just got there and you've only been there for like a week or less, when you get down to the line, and they usually let you out by your section of your tier, wherever tier you're at. So they might start off with third tier, you know, cell 301 to say 310. They'll pop out 10 cells. You and your cellie come down. You tell them what size. Now, if you've just been there, if you've only been there for like less than a week, you tell them fish when you get down there, and they'll just have your shit for you. You know, tell you your sizes, and they'll grab everything and give it to you. Because if you just got there, that means you ain't had no chance to get nothing. You know what I mean? And we don't have shoes no more. They don't let you. At one point, you could bring your shoes from the county jail, and they'll give them to you in R&R, which is receiving and releasing. But they stopped that shit. San Quentin and Tracy. And actually, Tracy didn't. And you can wear your shoes up in there. If you don't have shoes, you come in there with your county jail slides, and they shoot you these slip-ons, deck shoes, right? And then you'll get those. Tracy, okay, and compared to San Quentin, so the last time I was in San Quentin, my cell was 225. So it was the last cell on the so-called front bar. And the storage room for the second floor, was right next to my cell. Okay, so when they would do laundry, they'd bust out that storage room, and they put all these bags on the tier. So me being a convict, I'm not a fucking inmate. I mean, I'm a convict, not an inmate. I'm not going to wait for nobody to pass me shit. I'm going to bust in them bags, and I'm going to take out what I want, and I'm going to grab what I want for whoever I want. So, of course, that's what I did. Of course, the dude that was doing it didn't like it, and I told him, hey, you might have it locked with the toilet paper and the way you do that shit, and, you know, and sell us extra rolls and all that as part of your hustle. I get it, but when it comes to this here, brother, keep your mouth shut, stay out of my business. You know what I mean? You don't own this shit. It's out on the tier. I'm going to help myself if I can get to it. I'm not doing nothing janky. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like none of the shit was brand new. You know, I was just getting the best of what I can find. And if I had any homies that were close by me, I would grab something for them. Okay, so when it comes to laundry, I would say only because of that reason, San Quentin's laundry was better. And it was more regularly. Tracy wasn't. It was supposed to be once a week, and they didn't do it like that. Okay, then once you get what fits you, you never turn the shit in, man. You just wash it by hand, and that's your stuff. You know what I mean? Okay, so I would say when it comes to that, Laundry was better in Tracy or San Quentin compared to DVI. Okay, chow hall. Okay, so in most prisons you have, okay, well, those are old prisons, both of them. You have a main chow hall, and then you have the satellite ones. Okay, since we're in the reception center, we're going to go eat in the satellite one. So the satellite one only holds like probably, there's 2 little sections, and they probably hold, there's probably maybe 10, 12 tables, 4 people each, right? So probably about 40 people on each side. And then you got to figure you got to feed, if you're in the wings, you got to feed E-wing, H-wing, E-wing, F-wing, or excuse me, E-wing, F-wing, H-wing, G-wings, they all eat together. So as people are coming in to eat, people are being seated and they're being exited too to make this run smooth. San Quentin, on the other hand, you go eat at one of the chow halls, and once they finish serving everybody from that building and everybody's seated, you got time to eat. And I noticed too in San Quentin that a lot of guys didn't eat their food, potatoes, and because we don't get too much, nothing solid no more. Everything's mush. So a lot of the casseroles and fettuccinis and tetrazzini and blah 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 and all this bullshit, it's all more mush. A lot of people weren't eating it, so I ended up getting me a lot of extra food like that. I never got a job in the kitchen. I never in San Quentin I didn't get a job as a tier runner or porter in the building, none of that. So that was good for me. I got a lot of extra food that way. Tracy, on the other hand, it's not the same like that. The portion, people giving more out, giving away more, stuff like that. I did get a job in Tracy the last time I was there as a kitchen worker and as a porter in the building. So basically, the kitchen worker, after count clears, they'll bust us out and they'll feed the PCs, whatever. And then after those workers, they get sent back to their cells. Then we go in and work, and then we feed our buildings, our GP buildings, and right away, I everybody in the kitchen I knew. They were all from my area. I knew them actually from the street. Most there was like 10 of us in there. I knew at least 6 of us from the street that was in there, from 3 or 4 different towns. And right away I fit right in. And what we do as soon as we get there, because this is a satellite kitchen now, so keep in mind all the food comes cooked already in pans and pots, and then we throw it down and we start serving. Okay, so as soon as we get there, I'd make a huge plate right then and there, the main course, whatever it was, and if it was rice or potatoes, mashed potatoes, some type of dish like that, then I would hook up on that, and then I'll give me some bread, and bam, I scarf it down, and then we'd serve one building, and then in between buildings, I'd eat again, boom, boom, boom. And at the beginning, when I got to the kitchen, we were able to bring stuff home. So I would feed my celly then, and then we'd probably throw a couple soups with whatever I brought back, and we'd make a spread. But most of the time I was in the kitchen, I didn't even eat no more when I got back home. I ate enough in the kitchen for dinner that was good. Okay, San Quentin, you had no action at that shit. For dinner, extra food for dinner. Breakfast, you get an extra lunch or here or there from somebody. You had to buy it though. Usually I'd buy the peanut butter one. And then you can, and then I had also, so I feel, that was a good job right there. Then I also at the same time was working in the building. So as soon as the second watch cops would come on at 6 a.m., they'd pop me out. Like as soon as they got there, my door would pop open. And they did it by race. So I was the Latin porter. You have a black porter, a white porter, and then usually a other, which is for the Asians or the Native Americans. And then since we're in reception, we're not with the Southern Latinos. But if we're at a main line, then one of them would be out for a porter as well. So every group segment has somebody out there working for them. And we come out at 6 a.m. Like I said, I'd wash up in the morning, come right out. We sweep and mop the tiers real quick. So keep in mind, there's 3 or 4 of us, so we knocked it out fast. And then for the rest of the day, we're running around till like 1 o'clock, and then we'd shower about 1 o'clock, between 12:30 and 1 o'clock, and we shower, and then we'd lock it down before they were off at 2, because usually the other watch would come in to relieve them about 10 till, quarter till. We'd already be in our cell. And I used to be dead tired by that time. And then, like I said, then I go work in the kitchen. And basically, you're just running around. Dudes want to go sell this to this guy, do these trades, go pick this up from this cell, bring it back. And you're usually, and then whatever's going on with your people, your in-house assisting that the casa, assisting the house of your own people. Not gonna get into details about none of that, but some of it would be messages back and forth. And other than that, that's all I'm gonna say. So it took a lot of my time, and it made my time go fast because I was constantly busy. You know what I mean? um, and like I said, San Quentin, no action at that. They had same thing as San Quentin. They would have porters. They would have one for the Latinos, one for the blacks, one for the whites, and one for the natives or the others. So same thing, and they would do the same thing, run around and all that. The setups of the cells are way different. San Quentin, the cell, like I said, is off the wall, and then it's so narrow that my right shoulder would touch my bunk, and my left shoulder would touch the wall, and I would just stand normal, and that's how narrow it is. It's really narrow. It's a small cell, and the toilets are in the back of the cell. So if you're on the bottom bunk, which I am always on the bottom bunk, but if I happen to be on the bottom bunk and say my cellie has to get down in the middle of the night to take a shit, then he would basically be sitting directly behind my head. You know, that didn't happen too often, but during the day, I wouldn't be laying down like that. And if I was, I'd turn around and get on the other end of the bunk. You know what I mean? So the bathroom, the cell-wise, I prefer DVI. Okay, the chow hall, I prefer San Quentin. The laundry, I prefer San Quentin. Okay, when it comes down to canteen, that's what some people would call commissary. In prison, it's called canteen. Commissary is county jail talk. Okay, I would just call it tienda, which is store, or the store. Or some people say when I shop. When I shop, I got you. Okay, so reception center, you can go only $110 a month in the reception center. Once you get to a main line where you're going to do your time at, or start doing your time before you get transferred again, if you do, it's $220. And an ADSEG, or if you're on C status, which is a loss of privilege because of your behavior, you can only go $55. Okay, when I first started going to the pen, it was $35 C status or in the hole, $70 in reception center, and $140 on the main line. You can go shopping. So now it's changed a lot, and that's got to do with the prices going up as well. Okay, the way they do it the way it's done in most prisons is first draw. You look at your last two numbers of your CDC number. If your last two numbers are 00 to 33, you go first draw. If your last two numbers is 34 through 66, your second draw. And then if your numbers are 67 to 99, your third draw. Okay, that's how they do it in Tracy. So if your second draw, okay, for example, my last number was 20, so that's first draw. Okay, my time before that, my last two numbers were 42, so that's second draw. Time before that, my last two numbers were 05, that's first draw. And the time before that, it was 48, which is second draw. Okay, so DVI, dual vocational institution, you go to the store by your draw. So like I said, first draw, second draw, third draw. The way they do, and these cops are watching you like hawks too. If you talk, they throw you out. They send you back, and you can't shop. So everybody's being quiet. San Quentin, the way they do it by tier. So they'll go first tier, we'll go to the store. Second tier, we'll go to the store the next week. Third tier, we'll go to the store the week after that. And if you got fourth, fifth tier, the way they do it, they'll go, I think they go one whole tier and a half a tier the first week. The rest of the second tier and the third tier the next week. All the third, first, second. So yeah, something like that. But they do it by weeks. It's not by your draw. So it's like the first tier goes 1 week, second tier goes the next week, and then it goes maybe a tier and a half or something like that. For a while there, the section I was in it only went up to third tier, and they had a few guys on the fourth tier, but like disciplinary or something. And then the rest of them were I don't know if they're AdSeg pending or what. I never went up there. I don't even know. And then that was just very temporary. So I think they're pending AdSeg or something. And so yeah, that's how they do it there. And they're very petty there. If any, like one fight, they could cancel the whole store. So in Tracy, they could be a little petty too. But I think that's for DVI. I would say DVI is better in the store. because you can really only mess it up for yourself. You can't really mess it up for everybody else like they're